Okay, guys. Hello, everyone. Good evening. I hope you're all having a good day today. So, let me start with today's presentation. So, this is a 3-day workshop conducted by ISAA regarding the architecture career development. And I'm Hashika, architect Hashika to be precise. And today we are going to be talking about how to go ahead with your resume preparations and how to prepare for your interview. So for the workshop yesterday, we have started with the portfolio design, which is a very important part. So if you have missed out on that, there is a YouTube video which has been which is active for the next 2 days. So do check out that video, which is really important. And I'm going to give you a brief overview about what we did yesterday in the portfolio design part of it. And today we're going to go with the resume development and the interview preparation. And the day 3 is going to be about how you're going to approach your offices for positions, like how you contact your offices, how to write a cover letter, and how to know which office is right for you. And also on the day 3, we'll be having workshops, mock interviews and portfolio reviews. So if anybody is interested, this is something which is chargeable, and it will be charged for you around 500 for both your portfolio reviews as well as mock interviews. Do let me know and do let sir know about if you're interested in it. So let's just go ahead. So what we did yesterday in the portfolio design is we understood why an architect's portfolio is important, and why what kind of portfolios are there. Why do you need to build a portfolio for a particular person, and why you're designing it for them. And we also learned about how you are starting your design. How you collect all your projects, how you assign them, and how you change the little details of your projects to fit into the right kind of scale. And we also did learn about the do's and don'ts of your portfolio. So, what you should attach, what you shouldn't, how your font should be, how your color should be, and, what is the consistency of your portfolio. And then we also did a little bit of tricks about how to get started with your portfolio, making a mini portfolio, and then, how you proofread it and all of these small tips. We went through all of that. And today we will be starting again with our resume development. Portfolio design was good enough. So today we'll be going with resume development. And if you have any questions regarding yesterday's design process, or how you want to go through about the portfolio, or if you want a one-on-one session, you can just contact sir. He'll let you know how to get in contact with me, and we can sit together and discuss about how your portfolio is until now and how you can make it better. And so let's get started with today. Okay. Are you guys with me? I hope you guys are with me. I'll take that as yes. So let's go forward. So today's topic will be about resume development. Just give me a minute. Okay. So why is your resume important? This is a question that you need to ask yourself right from the first year of your architecture. So anybody who's in the first year, second years, who think, it's not something that I need at the moment. So please don't think like that. It is really important once you start your graduation process. So yeah. So why do you need your resume? And an excellent resume has power to open doors. So when I told you yesterday that your portfolio is like your Aadhaar card and your resume is the photograph in it. So a person to recognize you, your photograph is the only identity. So make sure your resume stands out in your portfolio or anywhere where you're giving it outside. And it helps you. Why exactly is a resume necessary in a portfolio, or generally a resume, is that it helps you grab attention from your employers and recruiters. It sells your strongest skills and accomplishments. It also shows you which position is best for you and your employer. And most importantly, it gets you a job interview. So your first and foremost step towards getting an interview, or getting accepted into any office or any university or anything, is your resume. So make sure you're giving your best resume forward. Okay. So now I'm going to tell you how what kind of information you need to include in your resume and how you're going to design it. So how to create your resume? This is really important. So first thing that you do is include your contact information. So when I'm talking about contact information, it is going to be your mobile number, your you have to include your name obviously, but other than that, what you have to include is your contact number, your email ID. If you have any website or anything like that, you will have to include that, as well as your address that you currently reside in. So the address that you're going to reside in, you don't have to put like each and every proper detail. Like make it a little blunt. Don't say, I live in this house. You live in this house, so make sure you mention your house, your street, and then go with the city and your locality. But don't go with each and every, this is the third street of this colony, and from the fourth turn, fifth turn. Don't do all of that. Just include your proper address, which is very clear and crisp. Then you go with your PIN code, which you include in your address. Do that. Give your full name when you're mentioning it. Don't just give your, the first name and just leave it. Give your full name. So my name is Hashika. I just don't stop it there. I want to include Hashika Nekenti, which makes much more sense to anybody who is sending out a letter or a formal mail to you. So include your full name and then include your address. And then you have your mobile number. I would suggest something. Maybe not everybody talks about it, but please do include the PIN or the code of the place that you're staying in, because I am right now in Chicago. My address is in Chicago, but if I'm applying for any of the offices in India, I would like to mention the +1 that comes through the US numbers. And if I'm applying, if I want to include my Indian phone number, I would also do +91, and then please give your number that way, instead of just bluntly putting your 10-digit number. You don't know if you're abroad, especially people who are planning to intern somewhere abroad. Please make sure that you're including your +91 within your resume, so that the recruiters don't have a doubt about it. And then your email ID. This is a very crucial thing when you're writing your email ID in the resume. Don't include your childhood email IDs like, I don't know, the only boy 123 at gmail.com, or something really stupid, or the pretty girl at the rate gmail.com, which is really very, very unprofessional. Make sure your email ID stands with your first and last name, or just your first name. And if it's all taken, please include numbers that are okay. Don't include 10 numbers, like Hashika Nekenti 8, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No, just include digits that are 2 or 3 unless your email is verified, so that it comes in properly. Do not include stupid names or something that doesn't tell about it. It just makes a very good clear impression when you're going about it. And there is another thing a lot of people in my circle have included is your gender preference, or the pronouns that you would like to use yourself. It's not your gender, but your pronouns. Like if I go with she and her, so you can include that, him and he or him, and they and them, whatever you prefer yourselves to call. So please include that right below your name. It will make much more sense and easier, especially if you're doing internships abroad or in India. It's completely fine. Please do include your pronouns, so she and her. So it's a very good start. And then you have to write a summary or an objective. So once a person picks up your resume, that is like the first thing a person looks at, other than your address. They would not really make sure that your address is verified or something, but they will see your objective or summary. And your summary should include what you are and what you want to do and what you're expecting from the recruiter that you're looking at. So I'm a master's student. So I write, I am a master's student studying at so-and-so university doing architecture. Make sure you mention you're an architect or you're an architecture student, because if you're giving your resume out to something else or any near related field to architecture, or a civil engineer is evaluating your resume, because the HR team doesn't know that you're an architect until you're applying for a specific position, if you're interning. So make sure you tell them that you're a bachelor's student in architecture, or you're a master's student in architecture, or you're a registered architect from specific country that you've been registered from, for say America or India. What I write is that I am a registered architect from India, and I'm pursuing my master's in architecture. So you write all of this, who you are, and then you write what you're interested in. You are interested in research. Are you interested in residential design? Are you interested in landscape design? Are you interested in BIM, whatever is your particular interest? Do mention that, because I am a person who's interested in research. I write, I am the student so and so, and I am interested in research. And then you write a little bit of soft skill that you have. Say, I am a very enthusiastic person who's looking at interest, and I am a dedicated person who's interested in doing some research. So mention your soft skill along with your interest. That will be the first part of it. And the next would be, who you're writing it to, and, what you are expecting from the office. When you're writing, I am a person who is interested in research, and I would like to learn about particular research. Like, I am a person who is interested in residential design, and I would like to learn something. If you're specifically interested in, I would like to learn how you manage things on site, or I would like to know how you would go and manage the project in a whole, like every part of the project, how you apply layers, something that you particularly like about it. This could be from your personal interest, or it could be something that you pick up from your employer's website, where they say we are an expertise in this. So you grab that and say, I am looking for something, and you have it. So I would like to learn this from you. And also mention, the next thing is you write exactly what you need from your recruiter. So, I am looking for so and so position in your company. So make sure, I want to work here, and this is the position that I would like to work in. And please give don't go into very much of a detail, but make sure the person who's understanding thinks, okay, he or she is the right fit. Okay, yeah, they need it. Yeah, they need it. And I think we have the position. So understand that clear link between what your office is offering and what you are expecting from your office, combining that together and put them in a clear summary or objective. And the next thing is highlight your past architectural experience. If you have any architectural experience, it doesn't matter if you have done, an evening job where you've gone to an architecture firm where you haven't been paid, but you have worked in a position like an intern, or just a student who's there to learn any of the softwares. Do mention that, because it will give a lot of insight to your recruiter about what you're going to do in there. So mention about that. Emphasize transferable skills from other experiences. So if you have learned something in your experience, say, okay, you've learned softwares from your office. So you've been to that office just to learn software, and you've learned your software. So mention, I have learned excellent software skills. And, or if you have learned any research skills, or if you have learned any landscaping skills, anything that you personally like or personally have learned from that. It doesn't always have to be architectural experiences. You can also mention if you have done any part-time jobs, or if you have worked in a departmental store, or if you have worked for your parents, like most of you have any background, or even if you don't, if your parents are in have a store, or you have worked in a store, or if you have worked somewhere, which is rarely happening in India, where you do part-time jobs at a local store or something. But this is very common in the US, where you have to do part-time jobs to get forward with yours. So if you've actually done some work in India, that's amazing. And I think you should include that in your resume. You say, I've worked as a store person in a grocery store, and you can talk about what you've learned from that, because it's important. You've talked how to communicate with people, you've talked how to organize your time and maintain it. I personally in this session include that I have done another diploma in architecture, in interior designing, while I was doing my architecture, which I would like to boast about. And also I would like to mention them that I've learned from a medical, like I have applied for a medical course. So this is important. And excuse me. Yeah, that's great, Sibi. He has a message saying that he has worked as a junior graphic designer during lockdown. Yeah, you can definitely include that. And so, if you have learned any skills, or you've worked for somebody in a freelance firm, anything. And if you're, what I was saying is that I worked as an interior, learned from an interior designing. firm. So I've earned a diploma while I was doing my bachelor's degree. So you can say that, yeah, I was multitasking. I was able to manage my time during both my bachelor's as well as my diploma when I was doing it continuously, correspondingly at the same time. So please mention about what are your skills you have learned from that. I have learned a lot of time management skills when I was doing that. So please include that. Add a skill session, which is, oh, I'm sorry, I missed out a point. Like, provide details about your education. This is very, very important for you, especially who are interning at the moment, because whoever is interning, you might not have previous experience in any of the architecture firms, or you might not have worked previously. So your education is what speaks. So, mention what all degrees that you've got. Say if you're doing your master's, you're currently pursuing it, mention it current. And if you're actually done with your bachelor's, mention that. If you have done a diploma, a lot of students in architecture come through a diploma background. You do your architecture diploma or civil engineering diploma and get into architecture. So do mention what you've learned. And if you're not from a diploma background, please mention about your 10th, 11th, and 12th as well, because it will make much more sense, because right now you're having nothing other than a bachelor's degree. So if you're just going ahead in life, you're doing your PhD, then you just have to mention about your bachelor's, your diploma, and your master's. But at the moment, please do mention about your 10th grade, your 11th and 12th grade, and your bachelor's education, or any certification courses that you've done could be definitely included in your education part. And the third thing would be add a skill session, which is very important for us architects. So please add a skill session where you mention about all the software skills and also your soft skills. So you write about, I know AutoCAD, I know Revit, I know 3ds Max, I know Primavera, I know, I don't know, Lumion, I know InDesign, all of these skills that you've learned. And you can also mention about your Microsoft skills, which is a good thing, if you're applying for something other than an architecture job, looking for a small part-time job or something, then you can definitely include that. And you can also include this if you're applying for an academic resume, which you're applying for colleges, because you do need a lot of, Microsoft skills, because you'll be doing a lot of presentations and papers and works like that. So do include, the Microsoft skills. And also, please add a separate, a little bit of space, give space for your soft skills as well. Say you have very good communication skills, say you have leadership skills, say you have multitasking skills, you have management skills, you have, you can focus on two things at a time, or you can just focus on the thing that you're doing. So please do include your soft skills, but do not lie on your resume when you're doing that. Like, you only mention those skills if you know that you're good at that. Like, I am good at multitasking, I am good at time management, I am good at, I don't know, what am I good at? Good at focusing, good at research. Do mention these skills only if you're good at it. If you're not good at it and you're just working and then you're stuck, or you're put in a moment where, okay, you are good at time management, you tell me how you're going to do about it. And if you're not very clear, it gives a very bad opinion, and you might be just thrown out of your firm in a very short time. If you want a long-term positions and you want to look at yourself in a better place, overall, do not lie on your resume. Write it very clear and crisp. Make sure whatever you're writing is going about right. And then use professional resume formatting. There are a lot of websites online. I think I can tell you tomorrow about that if you guys are interested. There are a lot of websites where you just fill in your details and then it generates a resume for you. You can try those, or you can definitely use templates, which is very, very important. I use my resume template from Canva. There are a lot of resume templates that are available online. Don't go with templates that are that's too clustered, or it has your photograph and then weird designs, patterns going on around it. Don't go with that. Keep it very simple and minimal, and take those resume templates and then add your information to it once you're done with all of that. And very important, like I told you in the last class, when you're doing your portfolio, proofreading is very, very important. It's not only in your resumes or portfolios, it could be about in your exams, it could be in your in the regular academic portfolios, if you're writing any research papers, or if you're writing any essays, or if you're sending an email, everything, please do proofread it once or twice, because it's a very common thing that you just give a typing error, especially when you're typing on your laptop or something, it just your hand slips. So please make sure you proofread your resume again 3 times, give it to your friends, your family, and then make them proofread them again. So, okay, so let's get into the do's and don'ts of your resume. First thing is keep it short and simple. As I told you, always keep it short and simple. Do not include, a ton of skills just because you have communication skills. Yeah, everybody has communication skills. You can speak. So please make sure, you're putting it in the right format and putting it, I am good at this. So which is why I want to talk about it. That's why I've included it. Don't just put randomly anything and everything, and keep it simple. Do not have too many colors. Colors is fine if you're an artist, but do not have too many colors. Keep it very simple. It'll make you look professional and elegant rather than a child. And then do not send the same resume to everyone, which is what I told you. Make it specific and showing how your skills and interests would benefit the recruiting company. This is very important. Like I told you in the portfolio development, you're not developing your portfolio for a single person. Know your audience. So know which firm you're applying for or which position you're applying for, and change your that little description or summary that you've written, or any extra skills that you have. Change it accordingly. So if you're applying, especially even if it's your contact information, could be changed. If you're applying for a firm abroad from India, make sure you mention both the contact information if you have one over there, and make sure you are doing it in the right way and changing it according to the firms that you're applying for. A lot of you do this. You make one resume and take like 100 copies of it and just go on distributing it. No, that's not how it works. You got to do a little bit of changes, especially in terms of your description. The third thing is describe things you have worked on. Do not include things that your team members did. And this is a very common mistake that you guys do. And I have seen quite a few people who have done this. What they do is they say, I have worked on a huge project, and you don't mention what part you have worked on, or you just take somebody else's project and do not mention that, or do not lie on your resume. Do not include things that are not yours. It won't make any sense to you, to the recruiter as well as you, because see, always, if you want to go short time, keep it short time. But if you want to go long term, if you want to, develop your career, develop how you work about things, then please do include what you actually worked on and what you actually know about. Boast about the skills that you have, not about somebody else's skills. And then indicate your proficiency and experience and skills. Do not include your soft skills, which are not necessary. I might have not included that there, but only include soft skills that are really essential, but don't go with including all sorts of skills like I can talk, I can walk, I can talk to people, I can talk to, I don't know, whoever you think it's not right. Don't include. Just include the skills that are important, and emphasize on skills that are good and relevant to your profession. So if you're applying for architecture position in residential, go with the softwares that work well with the residential project. If you're going with a large MNC company, which is working with large scale projects, then do include your skills and highlight them with respect to the position. And then you have check grammar, spelling, and punctuation. This is a very common thing that happens, that a lot of you people might not get the grammar right. Spellings, as I told you, proofread, you get rid of the spellings. And if you're not sure about spelling, it's completely all right. It's normal, even when it comes to the grammar. It happens. I do mistakes in punctuation marks, not with the grammar, but with the punctuation marks. So there are a lot of portals online, such as Grammarly, or even if you're texting your whatever you want to write about in a Word document, it gives you suggestions about where your spelling is going wrong. If there are any grammatical errors, it shows you a little underline there, or if there are any punctuation errors, just correct them and then put them forward in your resume. Because if you're downloading a template, or if you are doing any development from your any website or portal where you're directly just putting in your information, and you want to change your description for another a job, and then you do a spelling error, it might not catch that error. So do use Grammarly. That is free. Grammarly and things like that, which are free, which can just might not be big projects, but we will make sure that your punctuation, your grammar, and spellings are right. Check them on that and then copy that text and put that on your resume. It will make much more sense. What you don't have to do with your resume is don't be hard with the text or the format. Make it clear and make sure you can justify the inclusion of everything that's on your resume. As I told you earlier, again, make sure don't put too hard bold text, or not the whole resume is bold. Do not have fonts that are not legible, especially, if you're going with the script fonts, the handwriting fonts that are it's very nice when you look at something which is a hobby kind of a thing. But if you're looking at a resume, don't include such fonts. It is not legible for your interviewer. So make sure, again, use the straight fonts that look very elegant. And whatever you're including in your resume, any skill, any soft skill, any experience, any knowledge that you've got, any certification, make sure you'll be able to justify it properly to the recruiter. Because when I was doing it, I included a skill of Primavera, which I learned in India. When I went there, my recruiter was very casual about it and asked, what is Primavera? And I had to answer it. I know, because I know what is Primavera and I'm aware of the software, I could answer him that this is a project management software. So, but if you're, including a skill that was not yours, then you might be in a position where you are not answering it, and it will give you a very bad impression for your recruiter, and you might not get recruited. And the other thing is, don't include information that is relevant to the time and the company you apply to. Always update and review your resume to match the requirements of the firm. Like I said again, please change according to what you're applying for. So in your description, you're writing, I am a student who is interested in residential design, and I want to, develop my skills in how to do interior design. And then if you're applying this for an MNC company, or if you're applying for the same in a research-based firm, then it won't make any sense. They will reject your resume right away, right? Like, you want to include something that the firm is looking at or the firm is working on, so that, you don't include irrelevant information which is not required for the firm. So include whatever is relevant. And when you're writing for a company, please make sure that you have a background check on the company. Like, look at the images, look at the projects that they've worked on, and then go about it. And if it is a firm that your friends or your family or your seniors have recommended, do talk to them, get some insight with them, and ask them, what is this firm dealing with? Is it dealing with residential? Because if firms that come across you from your family and friends is more or less a residential firm which works with residential designs. So do try to include about that. Or if you're not clear, please make sure that you are talking to the person who has requested to give you this opportunity, and make sure you're doing it right. And it's not only because you have to put it in your resume, but you need to know what you're going into, what you're getting into. So make sure you're doing it right. Talk about what the office is offering to you, and learn about it, and then include whatever it is in your resume. And the third thing is, be specific about your skills and experience, and avoid these stock phrases. Like, again, please do not include things that are irrelevant, and be very specific about your skills. When it says, I want, if you're looking at a firm that is completely into interior designing, they would more or less want a lot of, rendering software. So make sure you're attaching those. Along with that, highlight those kind of informations. If you have all skills, highlight the skills that are required for your company, and avoid using stock phrases like, I am good at this, bad at that, and can improve in this. This is not something that you have to include in your resume. So make sure you're doing that. So this is a very good example of your resume. This is a resume which could be generated on your computer, which I said, you just put in your information out there, and that will generate you a resume like this. So don't go with this. Go with something that's on your right. If that's your screen. So that will be on the right. So please include it in a proper way. What are your hard skills? What are your soft skills? What is your education? What are the licenses that you've got? There are also licenses, or if there are a lot of certifications for architects, especially anybody who has graduated. I request you to take a look at the certifications that are available online for architects, especially AIA, which is American Institute of Architects. And then there are IGBC, there is Green Building Council, green building from the USA, and there are there are a lot of other certifications that are given to architects if you attempt a few exams. So make sure you're doing that, attempt these exams, and these can be something that could highlight your information out there. And as we were talking about in the portfolio yesterday, if you haven't competed in any of the architectural projects in your bachelor, then when you're doing your portfolio and you compete, please do mention that you have participated in so and so competition. It gives a very good opinion. And if you win in that competition, do mention it and highlight it that you have won this competition in this position while I was working on this. It gives you a very good opinion for your recruiter. Only mention about your competitions if you don't have any space in your resume, if you haven't got any skills, do include that. But if not, if you have good information or content that you can put into your resume, then do not include the ones that you haven't won. And in terms of experience, guys, one thing that I've noticed is when you're applying your portfolio to your resume to your portfolio, there is one session where you can add what kind of projects that you worked on from your second semester or your third semester to your final semester until your thesis. So you can say, I've worked on high-rise building, I've worked on a school building, I have worked on a bus terminal, I've worked on a museum, so that your recruiter will know that, okay, she has worked on a little bit of large-scale projects. So he or she will be knowing how to handle things when they're doing it. So do mention in terms of experience if you do have no experience, because first timers will have zero experience. So in that case, please do mention it in your experience, not maybe in your resume, but if when you're attaching your resume to your portfolio, the first page, you can definitely include that. And for the concluding points of your resume, I would like to say, start with job offer, highlight skills and requirements. You then use them to customize your architect resume. So when you're, well, as I told you, your company is very, very important, your architecture firm or your college, whichever you're applying to, your university or any position, please do start with knowing what your job offer is, or if you're having a job or if you want to intern in a specific place, know about your company and then highlight the skills and requirements according to what they are expecting and what you want them to expect from you. And then match the bullet points of your resume for architecture to skills you highlighted. So when you have the skills session at the bottom, if you're writing about have Excel skills, have skills in C++, Java, whatever you learned, it is nowhere related to architecture. Let me tell you, C++, these coding languages are relevant to architecture, where you can expand your Revit area to a larger scale. But I don't think it's relevant at this point. So if you're learning any other softwares which are not relevant to architecture, try not to highlight them according to what is required for your company at the moment. So yeah, do that and add other session in your architecture resume. They'll prove your stuff to rafters with passion, commitment. Have an other session where you mention about what you want, what you have participated in, if you have attended any conferences, if you have attended any exhibitions, if you have written any research papers, or if you have published some work or something that you're really proud about, or you say, I have worked for, for the student library association, or your work with the student career development, or something that you worked with in your college, you can definitely add that in your other session. What I add in my other session is the language. This is something that will maybe help you if you're applying for a corporate job or something that is in a larger scale. I know 4 languages, so I always mention all the 4 languages. And if you are especially applying for, some of you are applying for masters abroad, where you're going with European. So there is German, there is Italian, there is Spanish, there is French. So all of these knowledge, if you have knowledge about any of the languages, please do mention that, but make sure you're pretty good at it. So mention that. I know 4 languages. I know Kannada, I know Hindi, I know Telugu, and I know English. So I mentioned that. because I want to also state that I am okay with traveling abroad and dealing with clients with the specific language, and I can talk and communicate with them. It'll be easier for the recruiter to understand, or maybe it will give like, okay, yeah, this girl is applying for a firm in Bangalore, and if she knows Kannada, it's a good thing. She can talk, so it's easier to communicate for her as well as us with the client. So include your languages if you know any specific languages, especially if you are applying to the location of the language that you know of. So I think this is it for your resume sessions. Please let me know if you have any doubts. And you can always have a scanner, a QR code, which is important for architects. So if you're applying for an architecture position, for portfolio could be scanned from your resume if you're sending out only resumes. So that is not the process, but if you want to, then do that. Include all the information. This is amazing. They have the education, they have the publications. Publications are something that you do with your research paper. You publish a paper, so do include that. It gives a very good opinion. If you have attended any workshops, very good. You can also, if you're applying, if you're attending any paid workshops where you learn about specific things, like we would be planning to do a workshop on how to do research. So if you have attended that research kind of workshop, then you can include that in your workshop session. Include languages, as I told you, what are the internships, any exhibitions, any competitions, and the softwares, and how you're going to do about it. So this is how you're going to do your resume. Let me know about that, or if you want me personally to look into your resume and comment on it and tell you, where you should improve, what to remove, what to add, how to make it better, or if you need any templates of your resume and your portfolio, we can have a session tomorrow, which would be a paid session of around 500 rupees. So we'll give you the details of that. You can definitely get on that, and I will tell you how to do, and we can share templates of your resumes. These are again some resume templates. You can just take a look at them. You can also include interest, but I don't think they really care about your interest, especially architecture firms for the first time. But if you have, because it's a first time thing, if especially who are just going for an internship, it's very good that you include all of the information that you've got on your resume, just so that your employer would consider you. Okay, so we have finished half of what we have to do today. The second half would be about your interview preparations. So you should know how to prepare for your interview. The first step that you've got is do your resume, get on with your portfolio. And then if you get your job offer, then definitely you have to go ahead with the interview. So today I'll be telling you how you do your interview preparation. Tomorrow's session, we will be talking about how to approach offices before you do your interview. So obviously to get an interview, you have to approach offices. So tomorrow's session, which is a paid session, will be telling you about how to approach offices, like how to talk to an office personnel, or how to, know the office, how to research about your office, or how to, approach yourselves to the office and say, yeah, this I am so and so, and how to present yourself, how to write a cover letter, how to send an email to your office, how to contact your office people, how you can get contacts to, approach your office personnel. So all of these will be shown tomorrow, and if anybody is interested, please do sign up for that. And also, if you want to know anything about, again, portfolio reviews and mock interviews, after this interview, you can just, prepare yourself up, and you can just come up for a mock interview tomorrow. And if you're done with your portfolios with whatever insights I've given you earlier, and if you really have a portfolio done with you and you want to get it reviewed, we can do that tomorrow. Do let sir know about it. Ibrahim sir will help you out if you're interested in that sort of thing. So let's get started with the interview preparation. So what you should expect when you attend an interview. So even before you get an interview, you should understand what your recruiter is expecting from you. So what you should actually expect when you're going to an interview. You just can't be like, you shouldn't go with an opinion that they are going to hire you right then and there. Doesn't matter what you're going to answer. So there are some things what a company or a firm or an organization is expecting from you. So you should know that very well before you get into an interview. So the first thing would be architecture firms want to have employees who are serious about the work. So you should have a great answer about why they should consider you. I'll tell you how to answer that. That's a secondary thing. But the first thing is that you have to make yourself known as a person who is really interested in architecture, although you're not interested in it. So make sure you want to, say, yeah, I'm interested in doing so and so work. Please make sure you have that opinion right in your head. And while you go for an interview or when you're applying for any of the architecture firms, because it is important, because you can't work in architecture field unless you have a passion or you have money, but passion is important. So if you have secondary aside, so money is gone, you have passion. So only if you have the passion right, you're getting into an office. So make sure you're portraying that and your employees understanding that you have that passion. Identify key factors that make the role a great fit for you. So you have to understand that if there is a opening, there are a lot of architecture firms that state that they have an opening. So architect intern, there are summer internships. There are a lot of summer internships that are available. So when they are looking at these internships, they will mention what they're looking at. So, some firms will actually ask you for experience in AutoCAD, or you are a good person with AutoCAD, or some firms will ask you should be good with Revit. Some will ask you, you have to be flexible with timing. Some will ask you, how you will be a good fit for them in terms of competitiveness and availability, a cheerful person who is getting involved into everything. So there are a ton of factors. So make sure if you have a position that is online, so that you are applying for a position that is available on the office website or anywhere, then make sure you know what they are trying to say, and then go ahead and fit in your, you're like, okay, yeah, I can be available in flexible timings. But this cannot be happening with me with other people who are not fit for the job. If it's a girl like me and my parents are very orthodox and they don't allow me to travel in the night, or they don't allow me to travel or travel to farther directions than the location that I stay in or reside in. So if you have any such complications, you should understand it by yourself that, okay, I am not the right fit for this, and don't apply for that office, or at least convince and try to change your scenarios along with you. So understand what they need, understand where you stand, and then start applying for any of the offices that you're going into. Why did you want to become architect? Oh, why did you want to become architect? That is very common. You say architecture. There are a lot of people who say architecture. This is a typo. You gotta find it. So, why did you want to become an architect, or why did you get into architecture? Is a very common question that is asked in interviews. Or I would also ask this question if I am starting my own architecture firm. So I would definitely ask this question: why did you get into architecture? Because I did not get into architecture with a lot of interest in architecture. Please do not answer these questions like, I was good at drawing, I was good at sketching, so I got into architecture. Architecture is not just about drawing or sketching. There is a lot of science and art involved into it. It's a combination of science, technology, and art. So just don't stick to one answer. Talk about everything. Or you can say about how you wanted to do it. I wanted to do architecture because it allows me to travel, which I am mostly restricted to. So I would say I like traveling and I like to explore more places. And I have lived in 7 states. So I like to be in different spaces and explore them in a different way. Every space has a different essence. So that is why I've chosen architecture, to understand how these essences matter to us. So you have to be very clear about why you're answering this question, how you're going to answer it. And then explain well about your strengths, your hobbies, your academic achievements efficiently, and how you can use your skills, describe your motivation. So you have to be prepared about going and putting yourself as a show out there, and make sure everybody is understanding you. And everybody should think, especially your recruiter, should think that you are a potential candidate. You are a person with a talent. You are a person who has great strengths, who has great academic background, or at least an academic background that fits with their job. Or you should definitely know that whatever skills that you're trying to present them are the ones that are appropriate to their job. So make sure you're prepared with that. And then you should have some architect market knowledge, how the field is outside, what are the materials that are being commonly used, what are the construction techniques that are used, and general knowledge about, what are the material costs, or which is the location that has been hyped up for construction, all of these questions or knowledge about these before you go into an interview, which can pick up a conversation if there's nothing lying around. And a foremost thing, please know about your company where you're going to give an interview, do a little homework about it, go on the website when you're not only with your portfolio and resume, go and check about what are the reviews of that, how are the clients about it, and how is the office generally, and what are they expecting from you, how are the employees, is it some offices have a very formal attribute to it. They always make sure the employees are dressed formally and they're in a very formal attitude. Some of them have a very casual attitude. So know about it. You can just research about it from your friends or your seniors or your family or whoever's got you into this position. Or you can also think about, you can just go on a Google search and check whether, okay, am I fitting the role or not, which is very important. So make sure you're doing your homework right before your interview or even before sending out your resumes and portfolios. So do this, and I think I'm going to tell more about this tomorrow. And next we'll go with what are the types of questions and how to answer them in the interview. So the first thing that you might be asked is, excuse me. AR South, that's a very, very good question that you've asked me. He has asked me if you recommend students to work part-time in the fourth year, or you want them to focus on their studies. I will definitely get back to your answer. Just let me finish the questions part first. Please give me a minute. I'll just get back to you. And then you have, first question would be how you organize, plan, and list your work. So this is something which has been asked in multiple interviews. I've been asked this question twice in my interview. So it is important because any architect or any person who is working needs a plan, a strategy of how you're going to go about it, how you're going to work, because that is why they're hiring you, to get the work done. So how are you going to get your work done? You have to answer about how you're going to organize, plan, and list your work, which is very important. I go with an answer that I am a checklist kind of a person. So I finish one, I have the list of whatever I'm going to do, and then I tick them off once I'm done with that work. So this is how I go about it, and that is what I answered. So if you're a person who is a multitasking person, or you're a person who works with a timetable, do mention this, because a lot of students have a habit of doing a timetable where you have, I'm going to do this first, and then I'm going to do this later, and then I'm going to go with the third. So so you're going to ask about what, how you're going to do about it. You have a nice, a timetable. I work from 9 to 5, and then after that, I get whatever remaining works done, completed. So these are some things that you have to mention your employer, how you go about your day, how you plan it, how you plan your work. If you're running over time or if you're running late, how do you manage it? So all of these will be answered in one question. And what was the most challenging part of your last project? This could be an academic question as well as your job question, where you have this question about, how you manage it. What is the challenging part of your last job? Which I've been asked this question. You can say about, if you're working, you can say about one of the experience that you have, or you can make up an experience that makes sense. Please don't lie too much, but make up an excuse for that about how you're doing. But if it's a college project, and you can say, my teammates were not happy with this topic that I've picked about, or how I wanted this beam to stand, or the column to stand, or the beam to run. But I tried to talk with them and convince them, and I got this work done, and that was the most challenging part. Or if I had this thing and I couldn't do it on the project, and I had to evaluate how to get this done with the requirement. So You can mention about your time taking, the skills that your time management skills when it comes to the challenging part. You can mention about any of how to convince your people around you, how to negotiate things, and how to manage your, how to get the presentation work done. So anything about your skill can be highlighted in this part. Share an experience in which you oversaw the assembly, fabrication, construction, maintenance, or modification of equipment in the sense of architectural equipment. How do you communicate communicate with the staff what you wanted? This can be a question that is asked in with the base of your experience, or this could also be a question that could be asked. This, I'm so sorry. Or this also could be a question that could be asked about anything that you just looked at or you monitored, or if you're just doing an internship, or if you're working with a group. So, or if your college has organized any workshops about what you've done, so you can definitely include that. You can talk about that, and you can say how you communicate. You say when you're dealing with the staff or labor, it's the workforce is more or less layman. So when you're dealing with a layman, you can't use technical terms which we use in architecture. You say the facade is not going right. What would the person understand? It just doesn't make any sense, right? So you have to tell them, the plates that you're putting forward, or the glass that you're putting ahead, or whatever the element that you're using for the facade is not going right. Show them, talk to them, and you have to tell your recruiter how you're going to communicate. This could be a fresher as well. You can say, I have talked to so and so person to try to make them understand. Or you can say, I have done a market survey where I have talked to people who are dealing with the material but don't know about how to talk. So there is always a communication gap between the industry and the academics. So you have to talk about the link between these two and go ahead. Share an experience where you applied new technology or information in your job. How did it help your company? This is especially for the ones who are already working. Or if you don't have an answer for that, please make up an answer or tell about any small thing that you used or try to improve. Or you can also tell sometimes if you're not having an answer for that, what your colleagues have done, but don't go into details about it. Don't just take everything out. Just try to say this has happened and I have supported them in doing this, and that helped the company. Or it's not only company, but you can also talk about how it helped you with your project or your pieces or anything. So that could be an answer. Give me an example of what you thought outside of the box. How did it help your project? Yeah, again, outside of the box, technology or any material or any design concept, or how you're going about it and how that helped you. What is the key to ensuring your project, your company or complaint with all laws, regulations, standards that are applicable in your area of responsibility? So this is another question which is asked, especially for the upcoming new joining freshers. Here you're mostly asked about how you're going to tell others that you're going in the right direction. But especially in India, you pay around 1 lakh or two to the government person, and then they'll sign your sheets off, and then it won't be according to the law. So when they ask you this question, and if it's a good company or a firm would want to expect answers like, I will stand up for it, or I would want to make sure, ensure and check, do my research about it and get things right. So this is how you answer these questions. And just give me a minute. Okay, so the next kind of questions that you ask, these are the ones that I asked earlier were very professional questions, which will be asked for existing employers or employees, or already who have a background in what they're doing. So the next thing would be about your personal questions. So when you're talking about your personal questions, you will be asked a lot of personal questions if you're a fresher or you're intern, because you will not be having much of an experience in the background. So when that is happening, they'll ask you a lot of personal questions. It's like, why do you want this intern architecture job, which is a very common. I think this is asked by any recruiter that who is going to ask you, going to employ you. So why do you want this architecture job, or why you need this internship position? Say, don't say that, I have to get this because it's a part of my academic process. I have to do this, otherwise I won't get my degree. Don't give answers like this. Instead, give answers like, I like your firm is doing in this, and I am interested in this, and I want that is why I want this position. Or you can also say, I want to upgrade my skills. If you've already worked in another position or intern, or you want to shift your internship after 6 months or 3 months, whichever time period works for you. So you're going to say, I've learned so and so from my previous job, and this is what your job is offering to me. So I want to learn this. That is why I'm here. So that is how you answer these questions. And they ask a lot of questions about yourself, tell me about yourself. Don't say I'm an architecture student. I like going on bike rides. I like drinking tea, eating pizza. No, that is not how you answer about yourself. Talk about the description that I told you in the resume. Talks more or less about you. Say, I'm a student who has graduated, who is yet to be graduated, and I have a peculiar interest in research, or I have a peculiar interest in this, and I would want to look at myself. I want to develop my career, or I want to develop my further along my masters, or I want to get a job in this position, which is related to this, which is why I'm interested, or talk about this is what I am, and this is what I am trying to portray myself to you. And then, what are your weaknesses? This is a very, very tricky question that your employers ask. What are your weaknesses? So, how do you think you would answer this question? You say, I am a person who's very lazy, or, I'm a person who is always on my phone, I get distracted. Uh, don't answer questions like that. It is very wrong and it won't get you the job. So when you're asked about your weaknesses, you have to talk about something that you're good at, but in a way which is bad. So I'll give you an example. Uh, I will give you my personal example here. Per se, I am a person who wants to get things done. I am a perfectionist. Say this, use words like perfectionist, or I am a devoted person, or a dedicated person, whatever it is. So you say, I am a perfectionist and I want to get my things done under certain time, or I want to get my things done in a perfect way, which will, lead me to spend overtime on any of the project or work that I'm doing at, and this will lead to having me having sleepless nights, or me having problems coping up with my mental health. So this is what I consider as a weakness. So you're going to tell about something good, but how that will make you personally bad, but you still go ahead with it because you want that thing to be done. That is, which is my weakness. Or you can also say that you're a student of Abraham, sir. He will really help you with that. He is going to, the recruiter will get a very good opinion about that. And where do you see yourself in 5 years? This is another question. They have stopped asking this question in the recent times because it's become a very common question in the architecture industry. So if they ask you, please don't say that I want to be a job, I want to be your boss, or I want to have my own architecture firm, or I want to become this or that. Say something like, I want to develop the skills that I have learned in your office, and your office is going to show me a way how I'm going to see myself in the next 5 years as I'm an intern, or I am doing a job currently. Or you can say, I'm interested in this. So I would like to look at myself, a person who is gained a good amount of knowledge in so and so background, or a good amount of knowledge in whatever you're looking at. So this is how you're going to answer about 5 years now questions. Okay, before that, I think I'll answer the question that SAUD South. So is it Sood? Am I pronouncing it right? Is it Sood? Okay, I think I'll go ahead with Sood. Okay, so you've asked me, do you recommend students to work for firms part-time before 4th year, or they should focus on studies first? So even before 4th year, what you have to learn is you have to learn softwares, which is a very crucial part of any architecture student's life. So what you do is when you're learning your softwares, go ahead and work with a firm that will teach you your software as well as teach you how to implement them in their design. So this is a way you can use it. Concentrating on your studies, focusing on your studies is very, very important. But I'm not telling you to do jobs that are not relevant to architecture. I'm not telling you to, work in in I don't know, fashion industry if you're an architect, until and unless you're interested in that. So make sure you're doing it right and don't overwork yourself or stress yourself out saying, I'm going to do 10 hours a day or 8 hours a day. No, just spend an hour or two, talk to the person you're working with, say, I'm here to learn. I'm not here to work, be your employer in a full time and get your works done. It's for me to learn. So I think you should have that good communication with your employer and then do your part-time jobs. But if you always feel this is stressing me out, this is not giving me enough sleep, this is not, helping me manage my time, go ahead and do it. And I'm, oh, you're interested in fashion designing. That's great. Please go ahead and do your internships in fashion designing. Talk to people who are interested in fashion designing. Go ahead with it. And once you're done with your graduation, apply for fashion industry. It's great. It's amazing. That's nice. So make sure you're doing it in that way instead of just stressing yourself out. But please make sure your mental, physical health is absolutely fine when you're doing your jobs or when you're studying. Don't stress yourself out. Put yourself first, even before your education. There is always a plan B, C, D, whatever you have. But please make sure your health is all right. So according to that, if you're not very stressed, you have enough time, instead of spending that 1 hour on your phone or on a series, go and work outside. That will be good enough. But don't stress yourself too much and focus on your studies. It is really important. But whatever you learn from your internships is also important. So make sure you balance it out. The balancing is what you will learn when you're doing this. All the best to fashion industry though. Okay, then apart from the questions that your interviewer will ask you, you need to ask some questions to your interviewer as well, which is very important. And these questions would be, is there anything I should have asked you about? You need to know what they're expecting. You need to know what they think you need to know. So ask them about what you need. Ask them about what they want to tell you about anything, if you're missing out on, if you're just talking. So ask them what they need to know about it. Ask that question, it's important. And then, do you have any reservations about my qualifications? So some of them will look at people who are graduates, or some of them will look at people who are civil engineers. So make sure your job qualifications that you have are aligning with them, so you'll have a better idea about, am I going to be recruited or not? And then, is there anything I clarify for you about my qualification? So make sure if they have any doubts about your education, like I told you earlier about your skill, one of the skill, my software skill was Primavera, and my employer had a doubt about it. So when they ask you a question, even if they don't, make sure you ask them and then get things clarified if they have no knowledge about it. And the next would be, how would you describe the responsibilities of the position, which is very important. Please ask any of your recruiters, what are the responsibilities that you're handling with? Is it on site? Will it be only in the office? Am I going to be dealing with only 3D? Am I going to be dealing with only development CAD work, or will I be included in the estimation, the costing? Will I be dealing with clients? Will I be doing presentations? So please make sure you know and you ask what responsibilities you're going to handle, so that you will have a better idea about what you're expecting from your job. What are the biggest challenges of this job? So some of the recruiters, usually architecture firms, send boys out for field visits. So and if they're recruiting a woman, they would actually want him or her to stay all day, all night in the rain or in the sun or on field. So if that is happening and you have problems with that, this will give you an option about, should I take it or not? So make sure you ask what are the challenges that the job that you're going to take will have. And the next would be, how would you describe a typical day in this position? So they're going to tell you, you're going to have to work all day until evening, until 11 o'clock. like that. And, what are you going to do? Are you going to just sit in the office? Am I going to travel? Everything like that will be more or less answered in that question. But if they are not answered, then you will have to work about what is the typical work week. So is it going to be Monday to Friday, Monday to Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday as well? Please know what is your typical work week from when to when. Is overtime expected? They'll tell you about you're going to work 10 to 5 or 9 to 5. But you need to ask about overtime. Is overtime expected? I have my friends who are working until 11 o'clock in the night. They call up and they say, you have to get this done. And they work until 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock. So make sure you're not stressing yourself out until unless you're really happy working on it. Don't think that, oh, if I don't have this job, there is nothing else, or if I'm not working in this firm, there is nothing else for me. Make sure you have your opportunities open out there. And when you're doing work, understand that overtime until an hour or two is okay, but if they're stressing you too much, then please quit it and join another firm. How much travel is expected? A lot of firms don't pay you for your travel. So when you're asking this question about is the travel expected, and they say there's a lot of travel that you're involved into, then ask them if it is paid travel, because if you're having a work that is being done in some other state, they will expect you to travel there. Or if they are not expecting, that's good. But if they're not expecting, it's good in one way and it's bad another way. Make sure you ask them, and can I get involved into it? Can I travel? I am interested in traveling. Would you give me a chance to travel? Clarify everything that you have ahead, and then when they ask you these questions, please answer them accordingly and ask these questions to them so that you have a better idea about the firm. Okay, the interview etiquettes and attributes. An interview is where you showcase yourself, your face and your body language, yourself, just before your portfolio and resume. So what are the attributes and etiquettes that you have to maintain while you're doing your interview? Be on time, always be on time, or I would say be in time. And make sure you're 15 minutes early. I'm a person who gets really anxious if I'm not on time, so I stay like 30 minutes early. That's fine, because I'm okay with it. I find more comfortable. So make sure if there is a traffic, there might be a traffic congestion that would lead for you to go late to your work. And on the first day, if you're late, it gives you a very, very bad opinion for your recruiter. So make sure you are already 15 to 20 minutes ahead of your time. And if you're running late, or if you're not able to go to your interview, please make sure you're emailing or calling and telling your employer that, see, this is the situation here and this is why I'm not able to be there. So God forbid you do not want this to happen. So, but if it is happening, please do let them know, and always be on time. Know the interviewer's name, its spelling and punctuation. Please know when you're talking to someone, because when they introduce themselves, they say, okay, I'm Hashika, nice to meet you, how are you doing? So when that is happening, please ask the right pronunciation of your interviewer if you don't know the name, or if you're reading it from a brochure, like, in your letter which says so and so person, like Hashka, will be conducting your interview, and you don't know what is the pronunciation of the interviewer's name. So ask, am I pronouncing it right? To say, some people say they don't pronounce my name right. So it's very generous to ask, am I pronouncing it right? It's a very simple question. It gives a very good impression. So ask, and if they're like, yeah, I'm pronouncing it right, or they'll correct you, please change it and use your words accordingly. Have some questions of your own prepared in advance, like questions that I told you about what you need to ask your interviewer. Get them prepared and know them. And then greet the interviewer with a handshake and a smile. Always say hi, hello, and expect to spend some time developing rapport. When you're doing that, you're going to ask like, hi, how are you doing? So when you say hi, how are you, don't say I'm good, and then you say, how are you? You say, hi, I'm doing good, thank you. You should say thank you once you're done saying that. So you say, hi, how are you doing? So you say, hi, I'm doing good, thank you. How are you doing? You ask them a counter question, and then they will say the same, I'm doing good, thank you. So how was your day? Have you had your meal? Have you had your breakfast? How was the traffic outside? How was your travel to the office? These are the questions that might just build some rapport, so you can just talk to them and get things down. And then don't be embarrassed if you're nervous. It happens a lot of times. Even I get embarrassed when I get really nervous when I go to the interviews. Like, sometimes my hands are shivering, or your hands get really sweaty, or your feet shaking. It's okay. And I think your interviewer will understand that it's okay. So understand that it's completely normal and it's okay. And you can just go ahead with what you're doing. Focus on what they're talking and what you are talking. Don't be blunt, or just don't just zone out of what's happening, and then you just come back in and just answer whatever you want. So focus, tell the truth, don't lie, be aware of what you're talking about, and always tell the truth. And listen carefully to your interviewer, whatever they're talking, whatever they're asking, whatever they want you to talk. So always listen to them. Only if you listen to them, you'll be able to answer it properly. Or if you're not able to listen to them, or you're not able to understand it, please ask them to repeat. Say, could you repeat that for me? And they'll be, I think, very good enough to repeat that for you, and you can answer it better. What's your grammar? Grammatical errors are completely okay. If you don't know the language, or if you are having difficulty with the language, it's fine. But I insist that you maintain a good grammar when you're talking to someone else in a better position. And then be prepared for personal questions. So as I told you, I've given you the personal questions. Be prepared with them, and don't just zone out, or just get really tense when you ask about the personal questions, because you have to be prepared for them to ask these questions. Wait for the interviewer to mention salary and benefits. So this is for people who are already working, or if you're looking for a stipend for your architecture internships. Few of them pay, but few of them don't. But just don't go and ask them, will I get a stipend? Or, will I be getting the amount? Will I get these benefits? Will I be getting travel allowances? Just wait for them to answer. And if not, you can ask these questions, am I getting the travel allowance, or am I getting the allowances for the stay? So these questions will be coming when you're asking the interviewer. And don't just say, I need money. Just say, I am here. But if they're not giving you, please understand this is your internship and you're learning. Learning is more important for you than that of money. So get the knowledge and keep the money matter aside. Do not expect a job offer for the first interview. When you get into an interview, you might be very excited, and how things go, because generally your interviewers are very nice to you, and they're like, all the best, have a great day, and they talk things like this, and you get really excited, and then you go home and then your application is rejected. Please do not feel low about it. It happens. It's very normal. You don't get your job, you can apply for another one, and keep up your hopes, never get it low. And close on a positive and enthusiastic note. Always say thank you, have a great day, or you say the way you talk is really amazing, I like your smile, or I love the way this office looks, I'm very excited to work here, or I can't wait to work. So end it in a very happy and nice note, instead of just saying, yeah, okay, I'll see you tomorrow, or something like that. Just happy, enthusiastic note. No interview is complete until you follow up with a thank you note. So once you're done with your interview, you get back home, please email your recruiter saying it was great to meet you. It was nice to see your office. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to come and interview with you. Please let me know about what you think. And if they don't respond to you within short period of time, take a week's time, or ask them, when can I expect an answer? So take a week's time and then follow up with another email stating, I think you will know all of this, how to do this in tomorrow's session. So how to prepare yourself right before the interview. And right before the interview means the day or the night before the interview. If you're going tomorrow, how do you prepare yourself the day before? First thing is sleep well. Sleep is very, very important. I prioritize sleep over everything. So please get a proper night's sleep if you're going for an interview in the morning. And keep your attire ready. So make sure you're having your dress done and ready. Don't go with clothes that are not ironed. Please iron your dress and keep it ready. When I'm talking about dress, I'm not telling you to go completely formally dressed, if until and unless the interview asks. Like, don't go with a blazer and your shoes, formal shoes and everything done. But if you really want to show that you're professional, wear a nice, neat, plain t-shirt or a plain shirt. It will look much better with your interview rather than just going with clothes that have all sorts of patterns and things that are very shimmery. It will just distract the interviewer. And then do your research about the firm, how you're going to do. Also research about your travel time and how you're going to go over there. Am I going to go in an auto? Am I going to go on a cab? Am I going to go on a metro? If from a metro, are you sure I'm going to go without my dress getting spoiled because it's raining outside? Estimate everything that you have possibly and research about your office. How does the office look? Am I going in the right way, or is what should I expect about the office? What are the questions that they might ask? Or if they ask about their office, what project did you like the most about my office? So make sure you're ready and prepared to answer that question for them. Do rehearsals or take mock interviews. Let your friend ask these questions for you, or look in front in the mirror and then just do some rehearsals. It'll really help you. Have a light meal. Do not overeat. I'm not saying I shouldn't eat at all, but have a proper, nice, balanced meal so that you can stay fit for the next day. You don't have any congestions while you're traveling, or when you're in the interview you feel uncomfortable. So make sure you're having a proper balanced right meal for the night. Or even if you're going in the morning, please do have your breakfast and go grab a cup of coffee or have some milk and go. It'll keep your brain activated and help you stay focused and stay confident. Even the night, the day before, the end of the day, always be confident about yourself and how you're going to face everything that is going on in your life at the moment. A difference between good and bad architecture is the time you spend on it. So make sure you're spending the right amount of time in the skills and what you're gaining from the office or from your studies, everything, good and bad. So you get the difference. Make sure you're on the good side. So thank you. This is it for today's presentation. And if you have any doubts, any questions, please let me know. And this is going to be continued as a course over a long term. And if you're interested to enroll for the course, please let sir know about it. Tomorrow is going to be how you're going to approach offices. For approaching offices for the positions, and also you'll be learning about mock interviews, and I can review your portfolios. And if you're interested in any sort of thing, please let sir know or put that on the group. And if you have any questions, please, the floor is open. Can you start a part-time in third year and start a part-time in architecture? What are the things that I should be more perfect? So when you're starting architecture internships or your part-time jobs, what you would expect from your recruiter is that, one, they will teach you how to work with softwares and implement it directly, because you're going to be implementing in a real-time situation. So you will be expected to learn from that. And the other thing would be, what you should be more perfect at. I think internships are more or less about software. So try to be good at that if you're in your third year, and be open to learning. And if your office is not very friendly and doesn't teach you, I think you should look for a new one, because learning is what you're going to do in your part-time. It's not about the experience, but about the learning. It'll help you with that. And you should also prepare yourself for market surveys and market visits. So make sure how that's going around yourself. That, if I've answered your question right, Ushmita, that is what I want to say. And you have Surbhi, who is asking, is it right thing to rate software skills in resume? Yes, it is right. If you are really confident about your software skills, you can definitely rate them. You say, I am really good at this, or I'm bad at this. You can rate it. It's fine. I rated in my first resume, but then on my second resume, I didn't rate my softwares, because I didn't want my resume to talk about my software skills. I wanted it to talk about my research skills. So depending on your office or something like that, if you're really good at something, please mention that and make sure you're good at it, because I always rated my Revit skills as 5 and then my AutoCAD skills as 2, so that the person who is looking at would know that I am good with Revit and not really with AutoCAD. Yeah.
Hi, ma'am. You had
Hi.
spoken about the research paper.
Yes.
Yeah, could you just tell how to go about research paper as being a student right now?
As being a student, what I would recommend is instead of asking me or a person like me, or if until and unless you're going about a course or something with me, that's fine. But in an interview, no. But like in a session like this, what you do is talk to your professors in your college. They will tell you about how to write your research paper. It will mostly include about your objective, and you do a ton of research. And research, let me tell you, is not about just going on the internet and searching for articles. You have to do your research from Google. I'm so sorry, Google Scholar. So you go on Google Scholar, check for the article or the things that you're interested in, look at them. And once you look at these, have you gone through Google Scholar? Neha, am I talking to Neha?
No, no, ma'am.
Yeah. No, please Google, when you Google on, you go to your Google search portal and go and search Google Scholar. This is something which is very specific to research articles or papers. So when you go and search on that and you're looking, it is something which is verified content, and this won't be there on the general internet blogging. So I can write anything and just post it on internet, but in Google Scholar, you'll have articles, and these articles will be verified, and it will be from sources. You should also mention sources where you're taking from. Right now I'm working on my thesis, so I have read 4 to 5 books until now. So when I'm reading, and I think this part is important in the thesis, like you say, just a second, I'm going to show you something. Yeah, so now I was reading about this, and I've highlighted this part of my search. So I think this is something that should be directly quoted from the book to my thesis or my research paper. So I'm going to copy this text and mention whose book it is, what page is it, and you should have to include those citations as well. And these citations will always be included in research papers, which you can't really find in blog websites and something like that. So do that, research your articles, whichever you're looking into in Google Scholar. Take the information, write a good objective about it, and then I think every research paper is different. So I think if you have a topic specifically, then talk to your professors about that topic and they will guide you further.
Ma'am, so generally in research papers, we do have to write the bibliography as to where we derive the information from.
Yeah,
So Google
yeah.
Scholar, will that be a reliable source in writing it down on the research paper itself?
In Google Scholar?
Hmm.
Yeah,
No,
Google
like if I
Scholar.
find a piece of information from
Mm-hmm.
Google Scholar, so can I write it found from Google Scholar, like you said?
See, when you go and search on Google Scholar a specific article, it is not like the one that we see in general Google. You will have
Oh,
a website, and it will take you to who is the author of this article and where they have referred these texts from. So you have to refer the author and the article while you are mentioning it in your bibliography.
okay.
Okay, you can just Google Scholar and you will find a completely different page, which is for scholars. I can just do that for you.
And generally in LinkedIn and everywhere, they have this publications, and then they attach their publication on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So where exactly are all of these getting published?
They are published in different websites, portals. See, this is a Google Scholar page. So when I search about architecture, I will get specific links. And once I click on it, I will be taken to the article and who is writing it, when is it published, and it will have a detailed, where is it cited? So where is the article cited? So everything will be given in that. So it is something which is more reliable than a general Google thing. And this is where your research articles are published. Your Google Scholar has all the publications. Academia.edu or .com is something where all your research articles are published. So once you're done writing your research paper, there are a lot of international or national publications. You can send your paper over to them. They will take it, and if they think it is worth it, they will publish those papers for you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah, you're welcome. So we have Avani over here. Hi, I'm now working as a part-time in two firms. One is planning firm and the other one is interior firm. That's very good. Can I submit these certificates in my resume for internships? Yes, you can, definitely. Is it okay to submit two certificates as working in two firms simultaneously? That's absolutely all right. Presently, I am fourth year students in academic and fifth year planning and working for since 8 months. Yeah, that's fine. You can show it. It's a good thing. You can also say that I am multitasking and able to manage my time and I'm working good in both the firms as well as managing what I'm doing. You can definitely go and mention that in your resume. You don't have to submit any certifications, I suppose. You can just mention in your experience and put in your dates over there. Yeah. Am I clear about that? Okay. Anything else? Okay, so please let me know if you guys are interested for portfolio reviews and mock interviews tomorrow. And I will tell you how to approach the offices, how to talk to your employers, and how to get the position. So that will be tomorrow. So if you're interested, please enroll for tomorrow's session. Yeah. How you can get selected into a company, how you can get that position that you really want, and how to actually, mold yourself according to what the company's requirements are, and how to approach the offices for your internships, because it's really important. And it's not just about the contacts. Forget about contacts. There are ways for you to approach for your internships, and that will be known for you tomorrow. This tomorrow's session will be chargeable. It will be charging around 500 per person. So if you're interested, we will be doing a mock interview one-on-one personally, and there'll be a portfolio review if you have your portfolio done, or if you're in the starting stage of your portfolio, we can have a one-on-one session on that. And tomorrow's session will be uh, everybody will get around 15 minutes, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, I think Abraham sir will let you know around 15 minutes, and we can have a proper discussion about your portfolio. I can tell you, where to change the fonts, where to place things, where to remove, what to remove, and how we can have a mock interview if you're interested in that, because most of you are going for interviews later on. So yeah, you will be taught about how to present yourself in an interview, and this will be again a charged session for around 500 rupees. So yeah. Okay, I think we are clear. Okay, any more questions, guys? Okay. Okay. I think that's the end of the session. See you tomorrow.